welcome back. I have a bit of an interesting video for you today. I can assure you that the title is not clickbait. This actually happened, but I will just go over the point that as far as 3 broken lights go, I shot with 3 broken light stands. So I was unable to move the lights in the position that I wanted to get them and to actually adjust the lighting accordingly. So that was a really big challenge this week, and I'm going to go through some of the issues that we had with the studio and also what the end result was. So it was a little bit of a surprise to kind of walk into the space that we had booked. The actual space itself was great, so I'm definitely not going to like rat out this studio's name or anything like that. To be honest, the space was really good and it was a very cheap price. I think we paid like $88 for this studio for I think it was about 4 hours, so a half-day shoot. So I was pretty happy to have gotten that in the first place, and I sort of had a feeling that there might be something slightly amiss once we actually got in there, and it is kind of a situation of you get what you pay for. So I wasn't hugely surprised when this did happen, but it was a bit of a freak out moment in my mind of like, okay, we've walked in, there's no trigger. And I think that was the first thing that I noticed because I was looking around for it and I was thinking, okay, where's the trigger? I need to get that sorted. And obviously being continuous lights, which we then found out they were, there was no trigger and there was actually no adjustment on the lights. They were quite cheap and potentially those $20 lights that you get on eBay with the softboxes. So unfortunately there was no trigger, there was no strobe lighting. There was no adjustments that you could make on the back of the lights as far as the intensity or brightness of the lighting. So I basically had one setting and that was it. So yeah, finding out that it was continuous initially was like, oh crap, okay, this is going to be interesting. But at the same time, I did this sort of thing to myself, well, you know, it's just a little bit of a challenge, a little bit of a speed bump. At least we've got lighting, that's the main thing. Then the second challenge came when we started to try and move the lights up and down and try and get the lighting how we wanted it to, and it was really not working as the stands themselves were broken. One of the lights, the globe had actually gone completely, so there were 4 lights in total. The brightness on the lighting was really not very bright. Which was a bit of an issue. It was lucky that we had a little bit of natural light coming through, but we were doing this shoot a little bit later on in the day as well, so we were kind of losing light at the same time. So it was definitely fun. I did sort of think to myself at one moment, okay, I've kind of got like 2 decisions here that I can make. I can either cancel this shoot. I had 2 models coming along to this particular shoot on the day because I had 2 separate photo shoots. And it was a beauty shoot, so I was kind of thinking to myself, oh, this light is just not going to be how I want it, so maybe I'm best to just cancel it. Or I can continue on and see what I can come up with, even though we've got 3 broken stands, and we can just try and see how it goes, I guess. So I chose the second decision, and we sort of pushed through with it. I wanted to do this video still because I feel like, you know, not everything is always perfect with this sort of thing, and I wanted to show you guys that you can still achieve some decent results even if you don't have the best lighting setups like we clearly didn't on the day. It was a bit of a challenge. So I think as well, because it's so much effort in organising photo shoots and going through agencies, and I had 2 agency girls there on the day, I didn't want to cancel the shoot. And sometimes it's such a downer when that sort of thing happens, so I just wanted to push through and see what I could come up with. Made it as a challenge to myself. So as you guys can see, I do have a new setup today, so I hope you guys enjoy it. I actually do have some new lighting that I'm going to test out in the next few weeks as well for my videos, so you guys can let me know what you think about that. But I'm going to be changing the way that I do film the 52-week videos and show you guys a little bit more of my face than rather just the Lightroom screen. I think it's a little bit more personal, I feel, but you guys let me know what you think. But yeah, I'm going to go through the photos today using my laptop and using the screen. I'll be letting them pop up on the screen as well. And if you guys are wondering why I just didn't bring my own lighting to this photo shoot, I was actually traveling to Sydney. So as you guys might know already, I already live in Melbourne and I was traveling to Sydney for this photo shoot. So it wasn't really a possibility for me to bring all of my lighting gear with me. I just kind of planned to hire the lighting equipment when I was there in Sydney. So this was kind of what we ended up with, and Like I said, it was a very big challenge. It is kind of a good video, I think, for you guys to see, because it just goes to show that you can still produce, I think, decent images just by using some really terrible lighting setups. And as I said, like, the lighting was like one level, there was no adjusting. It was just kind of very dim, I think, for the most part. We tried to put about 3 lights I used for this setup, and for beauty setups sometimes I would only use like 1 to 2 lights, but the light was so so dim, and because it was continuous as well, we needed about 3 of them. So you guys can see the lighting setup in the behind the scenes that I'm about to show you, and I hope you guys enjoy having a look at what we had to go through. Like open even more. Perfect. Beautiful. So now I get you doing some different poses and kind of like, I'm just trying to sort of think. It's always hard to think when you can't see yourself. But yeah, just some really edgy expressions, like you're kind of like shocked or you're annoyed, or you know, that kind of editorial kind of look that a lot of models like to sort of...
That I hate the world does.
Yeah, that... Alright, so just with your hands, just remember to sort of like furrow your brow for some of the shots, and mouth kind of open. Beautiful. And the lens and brows furrowed even more. Mouth a little bit more.
Really like
As much as you can, even though it feels weird. Beautiful. And furrowing the brow. Beautiful. And kind of pushing your head away like a little bit more, so holding it back a little bit as you're doing it. Beautiful, just that lets the light kind of get a bit more.
Because I'm much better trained.
Beautiful. Hope you guys enjoyed the behind the scenes from the day. As you can see, it was a little bit interesting with some of the lighting. But anyway, getting past that now and actually moving on to the images that I ended up getting. So I hope you guys really enjoy these. It was a very big challenge to, especially in post-production. I didn't do too much to the images. I'm trying to sort of stick to a bit of a theme of less is more, especially even with beauty images. It's very hard to find that balance of not editing beauty shots too much and not editing skin in particular too much to the point where they look glowy or they look like a doll. So we had a really great model on the day, as you would have seen, and her name was Nikita from Vivian's. and she was really lovely and really understanding about the whole situation, as was the makeup artist Melinda. And I think as a team we still brought everything together in the end. So I'm going to go through the photos now and show you guys which ones I liked the most and which ones I didn't like as much, or what I could improve on with those. So this first one that I've got up here, I do like this shot. I was trying to get a few shots of, I don't know, there's these cool photos that you see in editorials sometimes of looking up the model's nose almost, and although it doesn't sound like the most attractive shot, it actually looks really effective. It shows you a really good overview of all of the makeup on the model's face. So I was trying to get a shot that sort of included everything. I think there's probably a few things I could improve on. Just finding the right angle to do that is really important, and I don't know if I really found the right angle with this one, but I think the lips stand out really well and they're quite sharp. So that's why I chose this photo as part of my final 12. So I still like the image overall, but I think that there's definitely improvements that need to be made with that kind of shot. This second shot I really like as well. I think that there's probably a little bit more that I could have done with it. It's a very standard beauty angle, so I think that it's not going to be in my top 5 this week. I do like how the makeup stands out on Nikita's face, and I think it's really nice with the glow that it's kind of got over the eyelids especially, and the way that makeup's been done is really beautiful. Melinda did a great job on the day. So I really like the image, but I think there's definitely things that could be improved on there. And I think as well, maybe just creating a little bit more interest with the shot and trying to create those different angles would be a way to go with that. This photo is going to be my top 5, and I really like how it turned out. It's just a really nice fresh-faced shot of Nikita, and it really makes her skin just look glowing, and her freckles are coming through, and I really love that. The makeup looks really great in this shot, and I really like her expression as well. I actually did change the background in post-processing because I thought it might just give that little bit more of an effect with the photograph, and all of the background was white during the shoot. So I wanted to kind of create a little bit more of a tie-in with the lip colouring as well. And I really like the image and how it turned out in the end. So that one's going to be my top 5. This is another photo that's going to be my top 5. Now, I don't necessarily think that this is one of my greatest shots ever, and I think there's definitely still improvements like that first shot that do need to be made. But I do enjoy the fact that I tried something different, and I tried to get her doing one of those shots where you kind of like pull your eyelid skin up a little bit, and it does look really effective, I promise you, in editorials and things like that that I've seen previously. So it's just kind of getting that right angle once again. I don't know if I 100% achieved the right angle with this shot, but I do like how the makeup looks overall. Really love that. And I do like Nikita's expression as well. I think she did a really great job on the day with her expressions. So I think it's kind of an interesting shot, and that's why I ended up choosing it as part of my top 5. This shot I really think is quite pretty, and it shows off Nikita's skin really well and her lip colouring and the makeup overall. I do think it is a bit of a plain shot though, and I think I could have been a little bit more interesting with my angles once again on this shot. It's a very standard beauty photograph, and I do want to get away from just doing the standard images, like trying to push myself just not to always take pretty images or what looks pretty. I think that's the really important thing that I need to keep working on is doing that. So it's not going to be in my top 5, but I do still like the image overall. This photo was more or less for the agency, and I did try and take a few further away shots for the agency just to show off a little bit more of Nikita and her face, and I think that that's what agencies a lot of the time want to see, is a little bit more of their features, not necessarily something too close up. So I did try and take a few shots that were further away, as I did with the next image as well. So I think they're cute shots. I don't necessarily think they're going to be in my portfolio, especially since this was more of an emphasis for a beauty shoot for me on this day. So they're not going to be in my top 5, but still nice studio shots. And I think the lighting doesn't look too bad in them. If we're just in regards to the lighting, as you can see, I've just tried to sort of emphasize it with a little bit of dodge and burn, and I really hope that's come through in the end. We did, like I said, use 3 lights on the day, so we were just trying to get a really nice kind of glow with the makeup, but I do think it could have turned out better if we had obviously better lighting, but tried my best. This shot I really like as well. Once again, it is quite a pretty shot. I like how it shows off the makeup, but I do feel like a couple of the other shots that I did pick in the end had a bit more of a cooler beauty influence. I do like it, but like I said, I just need to keep being more creative with those angles. This photo is going to be in my top 5 today, and I really like how it turned out. It's a little bit different, which is what I wanted. I wanted Nikita to do some different expressions on the day, and she did that really well. So I think that's why I want to have this one in my portfolio and in my top 5, because it is a little bit different and it shows off the makeup really well. I think it just all ties in together in the end, and even though her expression's a little bit weird, I really like it, and that was really what I was after. So definitely in my top 5 for the week. This is another one that's going to be in my top 5 for the week, and I really like how this one turned out. It's quite similar to the last shot, but I do like that Nikita's expression is a little bit different once again. It is quite pretty, but I do feel like it shows off the makeup very nicely. So that's why I want to have it in my top 5. I think her eyes look absolutely beautiful, and the makeup is just tying in so well within this image. So definitely going to be in my top 5 for the week. This photo, once again, mainly for the agency. I don't love it, but I did take it more so just for them if they wanted to use anything that was a little bit more full body. I don't love the image. I think there's definitely a few other angles that I could have gone for, but with the lighting that I had to use, it was very hard to get something that wasn't actually a beauty shot or a closer up shot, because there really wasn't just enough light to sort of even light up her legs or the bottom half of her body. So we did really have to keep it sort of torso up. And this is the last shot in my final 5 today. This image I really love as well. I think it's just showing off the makeup quite beautifully. Like I said, I'd love to be more creative with these angles and eventually get into the habit of just doing things a little bit more differently, getting different expressions, but I do like getting a couple of standard shots just because I don't have them yet in my portfolio that I really love. So I think that this image really shows off the makeup beautifully, and I love her expression, and there's quite a bit of detail in the image, which I love as well. But I think the thing that I want to improve on for future weeks is definitely thinking outside the box a little bit more, especially when it comes to beauty. You do have a little bit less to work with when you're that close in. You've got to really think outside of the box to get those interesting angles and images. So I think that's one thing that I definitely want to improve on. The thing that I think I did well this week was overcoming those initial challenges of lighting. So I really could have cancelled the shoot as soon as I found out that the lighting was just not working. But, you know, I chose to push through, and I'm pretty proud of myself for doing that. You do kind of have those little freak out moments in your head sometimes when that goes on, and you can actually feel yourself like your heart beating so fast, because you know that a lot of people are sort of relying on you to get the shoot going and to really get those images. So it did kind of freak me out at first, but I know I've had similar instances before, so many experiences with things like this happening, and I know on some of those instances, if I didn't push through, then I wouldn't have gotten good images in the end. So you know, not everything worked out on this shoot, but I am glad that I pushed through and we got the images that we did. So as far as my number 1 shot for the week goes, this is going to be my number 1 shot. I really love how it turned out. It is kind of more of a typical beauty shot for me, and I still like that it's a little bit different because of Nikita's expression, and I don't know, I really like how it turned out. I don't know if you guys agree with me, but this is just my number 1 for the week. I think that everything came together in this shot, so really happy with how it turned out. So guys, this week I really want to hear if you've had similar experiences before and what you've done to kind of push through them, and if you've ever had any lighting setups that haven't really turned out the way that you wanted them to, or any just general experiences in photography where something like this has happened and you've pushed through. I really want to hear, because it's always interesting to know that other people are sort of doing similar things out there when circumstances like this arise. It was a very interesting week, but I am pretty glad that in the end we just pushed through and we got what we wanted in the end. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you'd like to join the 52-week photography groups on Facebook and Flickr, please have a look down in the description box below, because the links are there. I'm more active, more so on the 52-week group on Facebook at the moment, although even lately I haven't been that active. I've just been so busy with doing all these shoots and getting ready to go overseas again. So if you'd like to go and join, feel free to have a look at the links in the description box below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!